reserve areas and try to react to it. But that's the game they got themselves into. They've sent probably hundreds of thousands of guys off to be cannon fodder. They lost those guys. They've lost probably the core of their best trained units, elite units. Foreign volunteers have been gutted. So they've continually relied on these drones, and now it's getting to the point where, it might be 5 guys covering a kilometer with a drone, and that's all you got. And, maybe that's why the Russians advance sometimes fast, because they figure it out and they know there's nobody there and nothing worth the effort. Plus, you've all heard the story. They bypass frontline positions and go behind the lines to kill the drone operators that cause them a problem. Then they come back basically later and deal with the guys in the foxhole, which probably means either surrender or they'll kill you because they're already there. They're already behind. I saw a story the other day where they actually infiltrated behind a position and then attacked the position in the front. And when they retreated, they attacked them as they retreated past the guys that got past the line. So they got them twice. So, I think that's another thing. Drones are good, but I think in some cases you can rely too heavily on the drones. And
but when you have an enemy, but
if you lose the coverage,
but you have an enemy that have the same or more amount of drones like Russia, you are screwed.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're trying to use drones to make up for manpower shortages, and that might work in some areas, but you can see where it's not holding the Russians back, especially in the south. Whether that's because the manpower is focused down there or what, but that's just what I've been told, is that they're really, really relying in that area on drones to cover up, for guys that aren't there anymore. And that might be a reason why they're having so many problems down there, is just because, it's a drone covering in territory. It's not a guy in a foxhole. And once the Russians figure that out, they can just move into those areas and, they'll take casualties, I guess, but it's not as bad as a frontal assault. And that, from it sounds like it, they've pretty much gotten down to where they can pick and choose where they want to penetrate through the lines. They send drones out. Super chat
by Johari. Has anyone noticed whenever countries purchase weapons from the US, they tend to get the export version instead of the stock version, but paying the same price, then only a few can actually modify them? Yeah. I think it's a terrible deal. Russian, right? I think when you buy Russian, it's very similar. Russian version and the export version is also different. So
yeah, you should and of course the export version is usually going to be more expensive, because it's not like indigenously produced for domestic, at least with Russian equipment or Chinese equipment. But about what you were saying about the drones, like the drones are a stopgap. They're not like the absolute game changer of war. It's what you do when you don't have like anything else. The Ukrainians are relying 100% on the drones because they've run out of artillery and HIMARS and other strike forms that you would actually want more of, but you can't get it. And so they're using drones as that stuff, and they're running into the problem that drones actually can't replace infantry. And there was a unit complaining, I can't remember which brigade it was, but they were complaining that they were sending their drone operators to the trenches, as riflemen. And they were complaining because these guys are specialists. Why are you sending them as cannon fodder and stuff like that? Which goes to show that, like, even if you have drones, you still need to send infantry, even if and if you don't have more infantry, then you'll still have to send this drone operator. And the same thing was happening with air defense operators, that they were also being recruited and sent to the trenches because they're running out of infantry. And so, even if these highly specialized technicians of particular disciplines are super useful and necessary, you still are going to have to sacrifice them eventually if you run out of infantry. And that's what's going on. Go on, Nika.
But correct me, guys, if I'm wrong. The idea that when you have when America sell weapons, they have like they can pull them, they have like a political element into it. But when the Russians or the Soviets before them they sell weapons, they don't have that. They sell an export version as the American, yes, but they don't like have a political say in how you use them and why.
I have
Correct
no
me,
idea
guys,
about
if
that, and
I'm
I
wrong,
don't know.
even in the chat.
Well, it happens with the Russian weapons and all of this. That they have so much licensing going on that there's a point at which it's really hard to actually control what other people like. I don't know, like the Mujahideen that fought against the Soviets in Afghanistan. They were all equipped with Russian weapons, basically. Um, they had the RPG sevens and the AKs and all this stuff, and so like, is that because they were getting them from other places? And I guess you have this situation with the Warsaw Pact nations in general, that they were, they all have license to produce Russian or Soviet weapons, and now they're outside of Russian diplomatic control. So yeah, there's a certain point in which there's not much you can do. But like you said, Nika, like the fact that Turkey can have S-400s while being part of NATO just goes to show the level of flexibility that Russians have with the sale of their arms
But
industry. Like, why would they
the
ever sell critical
they were
technology?
pushed to have it. They were pushed by the Americans. The thing is, they were
What?
pushed
Sorry.
by the Americans because they have Patriot. They were pushed to have it because when they have the Patriot and they shut down the Russian airplane, American pulled down the Patriot. That's why they was obliged to manufacture their own weapon and to buy S-400. It's like it's not by choice. It's American doing stupid things that backfire.
Yeah, but still, I mean, why would Russia sell air defense to a country that downed their own fighter jet? You know, so I guess that proves your point that Russia is more flexible with the political, like strings attached to the sales of their arm industry. Because if not, they would have never sold to Turkey. Turkey should never have Russian weapons, considering
Exactly.
that Turkey is a hostile nation. But they still sell it. So I guess that proves your point. Like, I don't know what the policy actually is, but that's a good example of that.
If you sell to Turkey, then eventually Turkey may transit and become part of the Russian influence, right? So, or who knows, Turkey can show the Russians how the NATO weapon works, so can be a Trojan horse.
Oh, sure. There's but
more
it,
more
sorry, was Nika going to say something? Hey, Nunya, good to see you, man.
you can see.
Do you have anything to add?
Not really on this topic. Like, I'm not much of a drone guy, but just listening to you guys carry on about it. But yeah, nothing really to add about this topic. No.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But we don't need to keep on beating on this dead horse. I mean, we've gone through the drone issue so long and so hard that there's not much left to extract from that topic. So if you want to bring, well, I mean, on the issue of, like, just to go on away from the drone topic, on the issue of like the international relationships that go along with arms sales, there's probably like a great deal of like realism going on. Like, the United States has a preponderance of force, in its power projection worldwide, and it's with its financial instruments, and so they kind of set the rules of the game, and everything they do is a form of coercion. Everything has a lot of string attached, financially and even more so militarily. While as Russia is like trying to creep out of, the the decades of humiliation, so to speak, and so it has to be more lenient and liberal with its. So like it uses its arms exports as a form of enticing rather than as a form of coercion. You know, when the where the United States puts a shit ton of conditions to the arms sales that it makes because countries are kind of politically captured and they have no other choice. Like NATO isn't going to be buying weapons from Russia except Turkey, which goes to shows what the position of Turkey is, like the leverage that Turkey has. Why are you typing?
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm not muted because I just joined.
Yeah,
It,
it sounds super loud, but I wouldn't mind if.
I'm so
But
sorry.
it feels like you're typing in my ear. Yeah, so the point is that the US sets the rules of the game because it's like the biggest game in town, was at least up till recently, while Russia is trying to gain leverage. That's why it can more freely use its sales of arms to gain diplomatic leverage that it lacks, and that's how it's been growing in influence steadily throughout the world. And you can see that happening in real time.
Hi Nunyan, long time no see. What
Hey,
is
buddy.
up? What's up?
Nothing here on my side of the world. Just chilling out on a Saturday. How about yourself?
Yeah, busy mostly. A lot of work, many things happening around all at the same time. Gabriel is not working today. Usually we see Gabriel, will be like working away, building someone's house or something, or farming.
Yeah,
I don't
actually,
know.
I am working. Actually, I am working, but since the open mic was so empty, I had to stand in the gap, and I'm procrastinating right now. But I'll continue to work. But I have to do a lot of grinding, and so it's going to be super noisy. I won't be able to speak if I'm working, so I have to take a pause. But I will continue eventually, hopefully.
I just turned on the stream on the old open mic channel. Yeah, to get you guys the old open mic channel. If you see your icon, the DPH logo, the open mic logo is gray color. Please look at the live chat, click the link, join the new open mic channel. Yeah, because a lot of people still haven't transited yet. Like there is like 28 viewers. I just opened the stream for a while. No, there's already 28 viewers. No, that's like more than half of what we have on the current new channel. Yeah, so yeah, YouTube is
Yeah, it's awful. You guys need to upgrade. Okay, you need to get up to speed. Come with the cool kids. Don't stay over there in the old world, the old paradigms. Let them fall. Let them fade.
Yeah.
So Wyatt, just because Vaughn had some poster or whatever, or Wagner, they demonetized you, but is that permanent
Immediate.
or?
No, not it is by right isn't it, it's like a 90-day strike. So the channel is entirely demonetized. The problem is there is other videos and streams that with the flag behind him as well. So and it is not practical for me to go back and delete every single thing. So it's probably safer to just start a new channel because there is no guarantee they will monetize back the channel. And the problem is if they monetize the channel, we manage to continue to invest in it, monetize the channel, then they can use an old video and then strike the channel again. So that would be like it will be a waste of our time. So might as well just start a new one. So, but the thing is, even this new one, I cannot guarantee they will monetize it like anytime soon. Like even if we hit the like 4,000 viewing hours plus 1,000 subs threshold, because they still have the record of they link the identity. My identity is linked even if it's different channel with different Google accounts. They can identify who that is me. that is behind the channel. So yeah, I'm not sure, when this channel is going to be monetized. So we stream on the main channel as well, the Defense Politics Asia channel, so that people can still super chat, can still help to fund the channel, the open mic. So yeah, it's just going to be a very uncomfortable 3 months, I guess, as we try to do this migration over to the new open mic. Yeah, and the old open mic, it was monetized because I was doing some opinion videos here, on the old channel. So it got monetized very quickly because we got a lot of subs when I was doing those opinion videos. So maybe I will have to do something separately from the open mic to attract people to sub. Yeah, and yeah. And yeah, I mean, purely just open mic and even the clippings, it's very hard to grow the channel. Though. I think it's just a very acquired taste.
Yeah, it's hard to attract people to watch random strangers ramble about their thoughts on things. But it is interesting study to know what's going on. Like, there's probably a way to make it more palatable for normies, but I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with YouTube. It's such a minefield right now, and it's not just on a cultural issue. It's like in general, the world is shaking so much from all the weird shit that's going on that I don't know if there's like any area of business that is safe. Like, everything can collapse at any moment. Huge channels have been deleted out of the blue. You don't know what trade policy is going to be tomorrow, and it's interesting to think about it that way, because like we can feel like businesses are falling apart all over the place in all sorts of areas, and we can feel pretty safe for the time being in whatever we're actually doing. But when do the second and third order effects come knocking our way is anyone's guess. Like, and that's usually what happens when there's like financial crisis and stuff like that. Like, it can happen in any random area that has nothing to do with you, and then suddenly, by
it can be quite evil, like before the open DPA have his YouTube going off due to the Ukraine war. I have another YouTube channel. I was covering QAnon stuff as well, and I was debunking it, debunking the QAnon theory. So I was like going through all the theory, what was being posted or shared, but going viral. I dig through, and investigated, and the conclusion is that it's fake. That was the conclusion. The channel got striked for for posting QAnon, and the video got like deleted. So it's YouTube is, yeah, it's not very like they're too big. They lost the human touch. They don't care. Like me and History Legend, we were talking about all this recent stuff regarding YouTube, and I was just telling him that we are just slaves. The content creators are slaves. Is like there you have advertisers, the content creators, and the audience, the viewers. Of these three, right, we would have imagined that the most important is the content creator, because that is what create assets for YouTube to monetize. Do you think that the YouTube will treat them the best? But it's wrong. They treat the content creator the worst. If there is viewers, people doing bad things, they punish the content creator. If the advertisers don't like something, they punish the content creator. It's always the content creator that's got punished. And then it's like, even now the new algorithm style is that they try to find videos for users. You see, they prioritize the users. They don't prioritize the content creators. They don't help to sell. And then a lot of channels, including the big channels, is all like complaining and struggling. Yeah, so And like the users, like for example, one of the example is that recently the YouTube changed the reading of the data, the statistics. So anyone that uses desktop to watch YouTube that have no ad blockers, so that means that your YouTube will never load ads. They will not count you as a view. So and then all the big channels all lost viewership in their statistics. The advertising money from YouTube no change. So they still earning the same amount of money, but the numbers for the viewership drop. But it affects the big channels because the big channels use these numbers to sell sponsorship on their videos. And now the numbers drop, so they know their sponsorship the money they earn from sponsorship reduced because the sponsors pay them by every 1,000 views. So suddenly a big chunk, a big percentage of this income is lost. Like this is what I mean. YouTube only punishes the content creator. It doesn't punish the viewers. It doesn't punish the advertisers. It's always us.
And what's interesting too about this, the way that YouTube does it, and not just YouTube, I think that other big tech providers also do this stuff where you don't really quite know exactly what the rules are. So you don't really know exactly if you're stepping over the line or if you're not, and then you could just get struck down for something that happened a year ago, for example, and you had no idea that, oh yeah, you technically broke the rules back then. So it's really, and I think that's probably not on accident. It forces you to censor yourself. You're doing half their job, So you're like, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk about these touchy subjects.
Yeah, and they're very ruthless. Like the Open Mic channel, right? We have done nothing wrong. We are totally free from any strikes. We didn't have anything. And one shot, it's just a 15-second video or something. Have the Wagner flag. They could have strike me, but don't demonetize it. Just talk to me directly and warn, be specific why it was demonetized, or maybe we made a mistake. They don't. They just strike and they do a perm strike. For 90 days.
And what's so wrong about the Wagner flag? That's what I don't get. We're not at war with Russia. When you start to add up all the narrative around it all, there shouldn't be anything wrong with some silly flag in and of itself, right?
Because Wagner is classified as an international criminal organization. So
by who?
So it's the same by United States.
By the US.
So yes. So it's the same thing for, let's say if someone put an ISIS flag behind, it will be the same problem. The channel will get removed or terminated if you have an ISIS flag. If you are being seen as promoting the ISIS, then you're gonna get strike. Because of Vaughn put the.
What about the guy in Syria? What about that guy in Syria that we're promoting? This is where it all falls apart. They're all such goddamn hypocrites that it's really difficult to take any of them seriously anymore, to be honest with you, right? Because they're all just talking out of their assholes.
Yeah, but it's not a matter of taking them seriously or not. It's a matter of control. It's a monopoly of power. That's why they talk about techno-feudalism, which I think is a misnomer, because feudal tenants or serfs had actually a certain measure of rights. It's more like techno-slavery, because and it's not just happening with the content creator. The content creators are the ones who produce value for the social medias. And in the same sense, for example, with all other forms of cultural production, you would think that the viewership or the audience is the one that brings revenue to cinema or TV series, but they've been systematically shitting all over that. And in the case of in technological products in general, the user should be the revenue stream, right? And they overwrite your right to own the property that you're purchasing when you buy technology. You cannot repair your cell phone, you cannot repair the equipment that you buy and stuff like that. So there's this whole movement of the right to repair. You can't own a thing if you can't do its own do your own maintenance on it and things like that. And so it's something that's happening systematically across the board. It's not just on social media. In social media, you can see it as like how they abuse on the content creators. But it's happening across the board, and it has a lot to do with finance turning away from being a revenue mechanism, a mechanism for revenue, and more an element of financial speculation. So like the revenue stream has become secondary to what the market price, the equity value, and all of these things actually are. The investment, like how much can you get investment, and so like the whole financial system is becoming a charade of shenanigans that attract investors, and profitability be damned, user interface be damned. Like, who gives a fuck about those things? All we need is the next round of investment. That's what I'm seeing happening across the board, and it's
like
a Ponzi
Disney,
scheme.
right? It's like Disney,
Yeah,
right? You know, they
yeah, like
destroy
Disney,
all
like
their
Hollywood.
assets. Yeah, they destroy the
They buy
assets.
stuff that has massive fan base, and they destroy the fan base. They like alienate the fan base. They send them to hell, and they lose money, but somehow they keep on doing it. So it's like it's a business model. It's not a mistake. It's a feature. It's so like when Nunez talks about the hypocrisy of it, it's like the rules-based order, right? What does that even mean? It doesn't matter. Just obey whatever we say, whatever we pull out of our ass, and walk on eggshells, so that we don't get angry at you for stepping out of line or thinking out of line or anything. Like, it's just a flex on control.
Yeah, it is. It's a domination. It's a authoritarian kind of action. Like, they know that they have monopolized the market, and then they start to flex. And
Well, I mean, this just kind of lines up, right? We read yesterday, I think it was, that the UK announced that they were coming out with the digital IDs. This is all part of the plan, right? So they control the internet, control social media. They'll tie everybody's name and person to it, and then they'll control you. They'll control your money. They'll control what you buy. They'll control what you don't buy. They'll control what you say. They control what you don't say. Yeah, what you see. So that's democracy for you in the 21st century, I guess.
talking about UK is now actively sending police officers to basically censor people, like, to catch people even for like posting. The most ridiculous posting, social media posts, and I think the most ridiculous one I saw was that someone's kid saw a post, no comments, nothing. It's just they saw a post, and the police officer came and want to confiscate the phone. It's like, it's insane. Like, what's happening in UK is insane. Like, that is crazier than North Korea, I would say. It's like, because North Korea have no phones. I don't know that. But it's like insane.
Did you see that one the other day of the guy recorded the call of the police phoning him because he wrote the letter N on whatever social media? So he was in some sort of discussion with somebody else, and I guess he replied N and hit enter by accident. So it just said N. So they complained about it because they thought he was going to say something else, right? So they reported him to the police, and the cops called him up and asked him why he wrote N and all this. And the guy's like, why is that against the law? Well, no, but you want to avoid having to come down and have a chat with us. This is what the cop was saying to him on the phone. And I was like, what is going on in the UK? Like, this place is completely finished. Completely.
Imagine spending public resource on
Yes.
this kind of stuff.
Well, when you're trying to police the information environment this heavily, does it ever work? Like,
no. Nope. Never works.
What's up, Maddie? You're muted. You're still muted.
Hello. I just wanted to jump in. I mean, it is amazing what's going on in the UK. And the one thing that that bothers me is that the people, the men and women, the constables who are enforcing this, they should be saying to their leaders, say, listen, this is complete bullshit. We should be working on, saving our, our communities in our country instead of policing around because maybe somebody had it, and there's a possibility that it might have been something that somebody would complain about. One letter, and the inference was made that it possibly would have been some type of racial slur or whatever it was. So it's like now they're trying to preempt your thoughts by in the way that Nunya just said, and then threatening like, well, you don't want to come down and have a chat with us. Well, I shouldn't have come down and have a chat with you
Right.
for anything other than breaking the law.
Yeah. Well, and the police don't like it either, right?
Right.
Because I was watching one guy, he was the chief of something, like whether it was Metro London or he was a higher up in the police forces over in the UK. And he said the same thing. He said, we don't want to be out investigating this crap. We have more important stuff. You guys need to change the laws so we don't have to respond to this stuff, is what he was saying, right? He said, you've made the laws so ridiculous that we have to respond to it, but we don't want to because we agree it's nonsense, right?
You see, Vaughn is going to get us terminated. You see, he wrote N.
Oh my gosh.
Vaughn, come on.
See, maybe what it is that N is actually a sideways Z, and they're like, "Are you secretly?"
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, so I think that it's pretty crazy how they're trying to use this heavy hand to police your opinions. Like you're having the wrong opinions. So wait, but those are my opinions. So what do you want me to do? Just keep them secret or what? I guess like don't share them and don't become a source of alternative information for I don't know what, clueless boomers. Maybe that's what they think they're doing. Maybe they think they're stopping another Brexit type thing where, all these old confused folks will see memes on the internet and believe them. Why would you do that? But okay, if that's what you're going for, they're going up against a lot of people for saying literally almost anything, especially around immigration. I think that's the big one for them. So I don't know. I think that it's pretty insane, and I think that keeping it, part of the reason why you want to keep people in the dark as to what kind of content is or isn't stepping over the line is because think about the whole COVID-19 thing, right? Where there was a long period of time where people would get into trouble for talking about it in the wrong way. And then you started to have channels like Jimmy Dore, right? That would pop up and they would always mock this policy. They would be like, oh, first YouTube demands that we tell you that the vaccine is safe and effective and you should be getting your 15th booster. I just got my 15th booster just earlier today. Kurt just got his 16th booster. We feel boosted and happy, right? And then they get into the, like the double entendre and talking all this crap that everybody can figure out what they actually mean. So I think that if you make it a little bit more muddled, it's easier to avoid that situation. Where if we know, oh, we're just not supposed to say Wagner, then we could say, that PMC, and then everybody knows what you're talking about. But if you don't know what it is that you're doing wrong, you don't know if you're in a field of landmines. So, go ahead, Mehdi. You're muted.
Mehdi, you're muted. Of course.
How do they expect to change the minds of people if they block one side from discussing anything? So there's no discussion back and forth. So there's no possibility of coming to some type of agreement or moving both into a direction where there's less confrontation. No, they shut down one side with all it does is create a pressure cooker that'll eventually explode. And come on, let's face it, what this is all about is power, and about an empire losing its power. And the only way it can control its own people from seeing what's going on the outside is to propagandize them into a little bubble that they don't see out of. Many of us are now looking out from the outside and seeing it. And that as we start seeing the truth, the more they start to try to compress us. And well, I won't say us in the UK. Well, it is us. It's everybody. It's on YouTube. It's wherever. The harder that they push till the point where it just becomes a point where there has to be conflict of some sort. And that's what's happening. I don't know if that's what they want, but they sure as hell are trying to create it and working on it right now and doing a good job of it.
I mean, I think there's some reason that they want to create massive civil unrest, and I don't know how that benefits people, but I mean, like, why would you do that during this like Charlie Kirk thing, right? Like this was nothing but every single senator came out and just tried to make it worse, you know? Like, what? Are you serious? It's literally just like that. If you're on the Republican side, you just say Charlie Kirk is a saint and a hero and everybody should love him and we need the Charlie Kirk Act or some shit. And if you're a Democrat, you're like, Charlie Kirk is a piece of shit. Like, really? That's right. I don't know, dude. Like, we talked about this last time, but that seems to me like a purposeful creation of upheaval. Go ahead, Mehdi. You're muted again.
I mean, I didn't comment on the Charlie Kirk thing. I think he was assassinated, and I think part of the problem is like the people on the left that reacted the way they did, that some of them wound up getting fired from their jobs and stuff, is because they've never heard any other side or view, that there would be people out there that may disagree with them vehemently. So they just put on YouTube, expecting it, or on their Facebook or whatever, expecting it to be just amongst their friends and stuff, and not realizing that there's a whole different set of people out there that think in the complete opposite direction. And really, all it did is make those people look foolish. And I agree. There's the right is, some people on the right are taking advantage of it and using it. And I don't agree with that either. And that's the reason why I've been just kind of quiet on it. I don't, what happened is a tragedy. We need to make it stop. And if the government's not going to do it, who is? That leaves only us. And that looks like that may be the case. I don't know.
Even the Charlie Kirk thing also is starting to get a bit like weird. Like, now they're starting to have theories that the bullet actually come from behind, from the other side, and I find that the arguments is plausible. It's not like it's impossible. So it could be the case where the guy that is now arrested, the one with the trans girlfriend, might just be just a cover. There might be a real killer from another angle that is shooting. So it's like insane, And there is also videos about some weird behaviors around him. Some of it is already debunked because some of them is very close friend with Charlie Kirk. The with the hand sign one. So that's that's nothing. But there is other people, that there's someone who jumped from in front of at the front of the crowd into the place, took something, and then someone passed him something. It's quite insane. Like the conspiracy theory is going out of control.
Yeah, I even heard a theory that it might have been an exploding microphone.
I was just going to say that. Exploding microphone. I mean, really? Come on, guys. Yeah. See, those are the people that are milking it. And I don't, I mean, maybe the theory has something there, but we have to admit there are people that are milking this tragedy as well.
Yeah.
To make profit off of it.
Well, I think that
to
make profit and to sow seeds of division, seeds of,
of course.
Anger towards your neighbor, thinking that you're, what the problem is with America? It's the freaking liberals. That's the problem. That's the only problem. Why is it that the gas is too damn expensive? It's because of the liberals and their blue hair. It's that simple, And then you tell people on the right, it's because of all the abortions whatever. It's because of all of these hardcore Trump MAGA conservatives that don't have two brain cells to rub together. And so you have two people that are like two groups of people that are just like ships in the night passing by because they think they understand what's each other, but they don't. They're just talking past each other. So I don't know. I look at it as like, I don't know why you would want to create this kind of massive division and chaos. I guess divide and conquer. As long as we're all angry at each other, we're not angry at the Lindsey Grahams and Ted Cruzes of the world.
Well, that's just it, right? Like this has been brewing now for the last 20 years. And if you remember Occupy Wall Street, that's what really terrified this bunch. That Occupy Wall Street movement freaked them the hell out because all of a sudden you had people from different economic classes, different ethnic races, the whole thing, everybody coming together and, siding against rich corporate America. And they couldn't have that. And next thing you know, all of a sudden you've got
Antifa,
trans rights, all this stuff that was manufactured.
Yeah, feminism exposed.
Why is that?
The Me Too movement, all of these things start popping up immediately.
All of that. And now, since that's all died out, because we've moved on from all that, because right now, the overwhelming majority of the people, what they really care about is the fact that their standard of living's going down, the fact that their dollar's not going as far. They don't want you looking at that. So now they've got to look to create more divisions, because the woke divisions, that fell flatter than a plate full of piss. And now they've got to come back with a new division. And the only thing that they can think about are the old hits, right? Racism, gender, or, male-female divide, all that stuff. And the other one, obviously, is, wherever they can sow division, to Bradley's point. Is it a left versus a right thing? Is it a man versus a woman thing? They'll try whatever they can. Look at this Sydney Sweeney character. Another perfect example. The problem is we've seen these movies before and they're not effective anymore. Like there's no racial issues or anything like that. It's all manufactured. Sydney Sweeney, does anybody really care that she was in an ad? She's got wonderful tits. That's what sells jeans. Like nobody's buying any of this anymore because we're all more concerned about the really important stuff, which I go back to is the standard of living thing. Right?
I love this.
And that's it.
I love this. Wonderful tits sell jeans.
It's a proven, it's a time tested and proven tactic. Every time you start getting a popular discontent rising up to a boiling point, people are like the immediate reaction. It's and people can call it like conspiracy theoryism or something, but it's just too consistent. Like every time there's some level of coherence in the public outrage, that is always due to the same causes, which is basically like over exploitation. When people are always going to be exploited. That's like the law of life. Some people are gonna, like, the only way you can organize superstructures that can organize large amounts of people is by part of their resources being drained to that superstructure. Okay, but when it starts getting to a certain point in which people start feeling uncomfortable or it becomes unlivable, then you're going to start seeing all sorts of internal divisions pop up, and it's completely astroturf. It's fake. It's like you see this boost of the media towards some like obscure issue item that is not controversial and nobody really cares about. And a good example was what Nina said, like the whole genes things, and and the same with the Me Too conflict between male and female. And Charlie Kirk is also a conflict between the political aisles, which are already known to be like a fake distinction. And so it is clearly, like, I think that the main takeaway, beyond whatever speculation you can make on that whole situation, the main takeaway is that the FBI story is fake and it's prone to all form of speculations. And there's been like a completely artificial, like it's completely gone off the rails how like all the theories come up about how that happened. It's just absolute muddying of the waters. That's the whole point of this whole Charlie Kirk deal, is how much can you muddy up the waters and splinter groups into splinters and into fighting each other? Because it's not even left against right. It's right against right, and left, like the left that is happy about Kirk is fighting against the left that is, seeing this as a way of crackdown on the left. The right that is idolizing Kirk, and the right that is more hardcore, and the right that believes the FBI, and the right that's against it. Like, it's not even a splintering of right versus left. It's like an internal splintering of both sides into infinite level of sides. Okay, go on, White. Sorry.
So just there's a super chat just from Rumble. Better Sida said support you want to monetizing the new channel, and the topic is about COVID conspiracy on YouTube. Yeah, the YouTube already say they are gonna like unban everyone who was banned talking about COVID and politics this past few years. So maybe it's fine to talk about COVID now.
Don't test it, Wyatt. Don't test it.
Yeah, they're just trying to.
Okay.
No. COVID vaccine works. Okay, so
you get your booster.
Always take your booster. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
what it works for,
just in case.
You'll discover. You'll discover what it works for eventually.
Although the Israel Gaza side, I'm not sure. YouTube support who, so we're gonna do both.
Keep a balance.
River to the sea. Israel will be free. Or something.
Put them both together, whatever. Yeah. So, just to hammer this point home, this whole thing where you don't know, where it's keeping you in the not knowing is a kind of a power play, right? Because it forces you to operate in a cautious way because you don't know what you're doing. But the UK recently detained George Galloway. You guys hear this? He came from Russia, and they detained him.
Oh no, I had no idea.
Under the Terrorist Act. He's like a UK politician. So even if you're pretty important people, maybe I think that's supposed to show. Even if you're pretty important people, we can break the rules. We can reach into your life.
Because he was on Russia Today, right? I think he have his own show on Russia Today. No, so that's the main reason. I think.
Yeah, it's got to be that.
I believe he's in the British House of Commons. He won the election this last Parliament or whatever season it was. So
I think so too.
But that how many? There's been quite a few actually reporters that have been held and detained. Briefly, at least going into the UK and Germany. I don't know if it's happened in the US, if Ritter and them were called in, and Tucker, but definitely in the UK. I mean, just going to talk to the perceived enemy, even though you've not declared war on them, makes you an enemy of the state just because you're talking to someone. I mean, what possible information could have George Galloway given the Russians that they wouldn't have already known anyway? That's what's so stupid about this.
Well, that's just it. It's not it must be not about that. It's not like they actually think that George Galloway's a terrorist, This is you make news about it. It's a reputational hit. It's a sign to everybody else. We arrested George Galloway. You think we won't arrest your sorry ass? So this is more. It's on purpose to be you're not you're pulling for not our team. There are teams here. There's good guys and there's bad guys, and you're not pulling for our team. It kind of reminds me of when. Oh God, who was it that in the war between Athens and Sparta? There was some. I don't remember which Greek city refused to join sides. They didn't want to take sides, and the Athenians slaughtered all of the men and sold the women and children into slavery because they were you're with us or against us in the war against Sparta. You have to choose sides. There's no not choosing sides. That's kind of how the UK is acting. There are no innocent comments when you say something on. There's only pro-immigration policy and against immigration policy. There's only pro-Ukraine or pro-Russia. There is no pro-peace, right? You have to take sides, and if it doesn't sound like my song, we have problems. We got problems,
Yeah, but it's all pro wrestling, actually.
Yes.
No, but I think Myrnos was the island you were talking about. It's the famous Thucydides speech.
Yeah.
That
The strong-
justice.
yeah.
We can speak about justice and morals amongst equals. We can only speak about justice and morals amongst equals. Like you're not an equal, so don't come to me talking about what's fair and what's unfair.
Yeah, that's what we call the Western hypocrisy. You know, it's only
Yeah, but
democracy when we're talking about self.
it's not hypocrisy. It's power politics. It's like
Yeah.
it's a form of it's dishonest. No shit, but it's a reality. Like if you don't have power to respond, then what are you talking about? What's fair and unfair,
Yeah, the
or
strong do
moral
what they
or
will,
just,
and the weak suffer what they
and the
must.
weak for what they must. Yeah, exactly.
So,
But
I just want to comment
with,
on Gabriel.
with the
We
issue,
have never
sorry,
seen him so covered before. Like he's always very uncovered, but today he's super covered.
Today it's Sharia law. Sharia law. No, but about the UK and how like you can't criticize immigration and all of that. And the funny thing is that, you know, and just to go to show how they can flex on their power and they do whatever they want, doesn't matter what they say. And you know, when the main reason Starmer put out for like approving this digital ID thing is precisely to control immigration. You know, like, people have a problem with immigration, so we're going to do digital ID so that nobody can work without a digital ID that will only be given to, you know, legal residents of the country. And so, like, they create this mass immigration problem, and people complain about it, and they censor them for complaining. And their solution to it is something that people have been complaining about since Tony Blair times, that they want to put digital ID. So it's just hilarious, you know, like
you create the problem.
They're not even trying to hide it. It's just, you know, like, take it up the bum. We're gonna do whatever we want, anyways.
Yeah,
and they can do it.
They've had this solution waiting for a problem for such a long time. Finally, please, can we institute this digital ID situation already? Social credit stuff. Now that we have all these illegal immigrants, it's an island. How hard could it be to have, like, I don't know, patrol boats around the island? I mean, the UK is providing Ukraine with these naval drones. Maybe they should hold on to one or two of them and then have them like circling the island. I think it's going to do a lot wonders for the immigration problem. Just saying.
First thing first. UK used to prevent the Nazis from entering UK. You know, they have experience protecting their channels. You know.
Yeah.
But if they use that, they will not have the excuse of immigration. They need another excuse to be ready before they get rid of the immigration. Because like 3-4 years ago, we had the COVID issue. Before that, we have other Brexit. We had like each time. I think there's like an episode. We go into an episode. We focus on that, and we forget what's important and where the wealth is going and where the power is going. And we squabble between ourselves. As I told you guys when we talked about immigration stuff, I said, whatever you do, but don't forget go read the. Why go
you can
read
finish your point. I read. Better see that say, you know, if GG was on right side, we would have seen the comment from JD and Musk how the British government are trying to silence the right. I'm telling you, the left gets silenced as much as the right. So
that's what I'm talking. It's you guys will squabble between yourself, right and left, and Muslim and Christians, and immigrant and non-immigrant, and COVID vacciner and non-COVID vacciner. But what's important is you don't look up. You don't focus on what's happening up. The day that Kirk was shot, you know what legislation got passed away. So you don't. Either they will create a situation. I don't say it's a created situation, or they will use that situation for to their agenda. This is why I guys focus on whether you choose to have immigration or not, COVID or not. I don't care, but you guys need to always think that's not what they are pushing in front of our faces. It's like even before in the 2000, it was the terrorist attacks and stuff. And even before that, it was the communist. It's always something. It's always something. But
Yeah.
it's never about who have the power and who have the money.
Yep. Exactly.
One thing, as I told you guys in the, I think not the last one, we in the screwed country, we saw those episodes before. We lived that, and you guys are living the same thing. So you need to take a bit of an advice. Don't focus on those trivial things and focus on what's important. Because the left will have fun when the right will have less power, less freedom, and the rights too. But you will go, both will get screwed in the end of the line. Only one who was neither left neither right, who only care about power, will prevail. And this is what happened in our countries, mine and other like third world countries. And as I told you, sir, we came from your future, so we are we are trying to warn you guys about it.
Go ahead, Mehdi. Oh, okay.
The-
Well, I just know I would, what I wanted to add to that. Sorry. I completely forgot. I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Shit. I'm sorry.
That's
cat
my
jumped up.
gig, not yours.
I know, right? My cat jumped up and I got distracted.
Drop the dope, man. Drop the dope.
You got to put yourself on mute too before. That's the proper way to do it. Forget what you're saying.
Right.
Put yourself on mute.
Yeah. And then go, oh, yeah, that's right. But yeah, sorry, I don't remember what I
I
was
will
gonna
try
add
to
to
speak
that.
and you will remember it.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it's gonna be. But oh yeah, that's right. I remember now. So when the comment that says that the left gets see, you were right. The left gets censored just as much as the right. I think that's of course that's it. That is that's not the right way to look at it, right? It's what matters is what you're saying. Who gets censored is not necessarily the left or the right. Who gets censored is those who shoot up, and those who shoot down and shoot across the aisle at their own, like that play the horse politics and pretend that, oh yeah, Washington Generals versus the Magic, well, no, the Globetrotters versus Washington Generals. So it's like the fake basketball game where there's the good guys and the bad guys, right? That to just pretend that that's real. And if you are willing to pretend that that's real, then you're going to, like the Mario Nawfalls of the world, you're going to get boosted. You're going to find success. If you're actually trying to sift through this shit and try to say, hey, this is a fake game. This whole game is fake. Everybody kind of knows that, but I feel like that's not the kinds of messages that land you multi-million-dollar deals on paid news channels. Nobody needs to know that. Nobody needs to have somebody that's going to be investigating and figuring out what the truth is when we're trying to create the truth. We are trying to create our own truth. We're trying to manufacture reality. So if we're trying to manufacture reality, your competing reality has no place. It's not welcome.
I saw the news from the United States regarding the shooting on the ICE officer, and then it's kind of shocking because despite like the Antifa is getting labeled as a terrorist group, then you still have a lot of those protesters that really just go out and just they may not dress and call themselves Antifa, but their behavior is still very similar. And yeah, what do you guys think? What the hell is happening actually?
Well,
But I think the people who got
whole plant.
one
Antifa
thing
is basically the freaking FBI trying to create and infiltrate any potential birth of a grassroots movement from the ground up. So Antifa is not organized. There's no leadership. It's just an excuse. So you could say the big scary left is coming to you. Go ahead, Mehdi.
sorry, just one question before that, and go, Mehdi. It will be brief. Just I think the ones who got hit or killed are the ones who were detainees. Is it?
There were a couple of detainees that got hit. but he could have went in there just spraying bullets anywhere. So it isn't a matter. We don't know if he actually focused on the detainees or he just sprayed bullets because he just wanted to kill people who's anti-ICE. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
But
Antifa. The one thing, there's a difference, Bradley, and I think you're wrong on this, is that Antifa was the ones that were breaking windows and burning down places and holding a federal courthouse under siege in Seattle. I mean, not Seattle, in Portland.
They still are.
And you haven't seen that from the right. We don't do that. We're mostly law-abiding citizens. That's the reason why you don't see it. We're mostly older.
Think about this. No, Maddie. Think about January 6th, right?
Yeah.
When January 6th happened, people were mostly having this peaceful protest, and then there was a small group of people that opened the gates, incited the imaginations of the crowd. People went in and then they hammered them and said, "This is an insurrection," right?
It was a federal ambush.
That's what Antifa
set up.
is. No, same. That's what Antifa is.
But understand,
Antifa and Black Lives Matter is the same thing. It's the same thing. So there you go. So when you say they don't, that the right doesn't do this violent shit, I'm saying that the left doesn't actually do this violent shit either. When they get infiltrated by the freaking FBI agents, then they get incited to do that kind of stuff. You know where this comes out, which playbook this comes out of? This comes out of our own regime change playbook.
I can't argue against that it may be the government that is behind Antifa, considering the amount of U.S. aid that got funneled into these through Soros. I think it was up to $80 million. I mean, just some ridiculous number is getting fed into them, and they're more organized than we think. But I just, when it comes down to violence, it's not equal. At least it's not proportionally equal. But anyway, I was going to say something else, but we'll just let it go there.
Trump is going after Soros, right? He just ordered like his guys to look into the Soros connections. So we finally get this fight against Soros. Like we have been talking about Soros for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but finally, at least on paper, publicly, someone is trying to investigate. Like it's actually very bad. It's so bad that even Singapore, we ban organizations that are related to Soros. That is how
same in Russia.
The threat is.
Same in Russia, same in China. It's a destabilizing force.
But we are very close to the United States. And imagine we in Singapore, we ban Soros organizations. So it's like this threat coming from Soros-led organizations is very real. If not, Singapore wouldn't have done something like this. Because we are like paranoid at offending people, but it's a real threat.
No, it's a real threat. And sorry, May, go on. I don't want to interrupt you.
Well,
you're gonna lose your thought.
No, you go. I'll hit on.
Oh, okay. Look. About this issue of the left being more persecuted than the right, or the right being more persecuted than the left. Historically speaking, the right, as by definition, as being the conservative side of politics, has been the institutional power. And so it is true that historically speaking, the right has had a stronger crackdown on the left, has had more power to crack down on the left, historically speaking. But in the past 20 years, there's been a shift in nominal left, because it's the progressive Democrats or the liberal Democrats that have taken over control of the world in the past. And it hasn't been because they took it over in the sense of they overthrew the right and they took over. It's been an alliance. The Uni Party has invested itself in leftist rhetoric and has cracked down on the right in harder than on the left, in the sense that the left got co-opted and started just, its whole revolutionary shtick that was its traditional identity got blended into the structure of power, when the structure of power dressed itself as leftist, liberal, democratic values. And so the whole revolutionary attitude of the left in the past 20 years has been basically stoking up the flames of internal division amongst the oppressed classes, amongst the proletariat, by pitting men against women, race against race, straight against homosexual, or like homosexual against straight, and so on and so forth. And so the whole revolutionary attitude of the left in the past 20 years has been mainstream, institutionally sanctioned party line. And so that's why they haven't been persecuted in the past 20 years. And I mean, they haven't been as persecuted as the right, because they've been towing the party line, the uni-party line. And the right has been, as a conservative side of politics, have been trying to delay or push back against these social engineering programs that are explicitly and deliberately destroying quality of life
and society in general. Go ahead, Mehdi, you're muted.
Well, if you want to consider persecution, let's just look at YouTube itself. A conservative cannot necessarily always speak his thoughts. He has to talk through code words and shit like that. It's bent to one side. And that's what I mean. When we talk about persecution or being shut down or closed out and stuff like that, I think you're right. What we're dealing with is a party. It's not necessarily a party thing. We call it the Uniparty, but it's actually the Washington, D.C. establishment. All the families involved in there, the ones that work in the system, their whole family for generations has worked within the system. They go in and out from lobbyists to law firm to working as a congressional aide, doing stuff like that. None of their kids have to look for jobs. They always have them. And you can just go to opensecrets.org and see the revolving door of some of these kids and who they work for. Sometimes they're a congressional aide for a Republican, and the next thing you know, they're one for a Democrat.
Yep.
But there's definitely a party, not a party, but a faction within our system that is working on its own, and it's consisted of both parties, like the Gang of Eight. If anybody remembers that, that's still in place. It's just in the background now. And that's why we can't get anything done, because these people still have their fingers and claws into the deeper parts of government. And this is why I cannot stand that Rubio is in charge of the State Department, because he is one of the neocons that we need to get rid of. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I don't understand, when you see Trump giving mixed messages, we don't know what he's being told and by whom. I think he's finally caught on to Ukraine and what's going on there. And now he's starting to look at Israel and that. I can't even say it without spitting, so I won't. Look at Israel, seeing what's going on. And, there comes a point where your eyes, you just cannot unsee what you're seeing. And you're going to have to take some type of action, because it's falling on him. Because I'm a MAGA guy, but I'm against going into Israel. I'm against the Ukraine war. I always have been. We're not ready for it. And I'll talk about this, because there may be a reason why the generals were all called to Quantico. And it has a lot to do possibly with the General Accounting Office statement that came out that said U.S. ground forces are very, very unprepared. 1 out of 10 times the armored force was able to meet combat readiness when it was needed. So that came out. Plus, we may see a cutting down of generals, a culling of the herd. The third thing is that it may be for military tribunal that are coming up. And these are flag officers that would be involved in these type of things possibly. So there's a lot about what these generals are being called for. And everybody, all the people that want to fearmonger say we're going to war. I think that is not the case. I think what's happening is that we're going to start working on fixing our shit, and it's going to start from the top. People are going to start to be held accountable. I hope.
You don't think they want to go for
Starling purge? It's the Starling purge. We need to do the purge first before you can win the war.
So wait,
they're pushing. They're pushing.
What about Transnistria? Like, you don't think that they might want to go for that? You don't think they might want to boots on the ground for something small like this that they?
The Army cannot meet its readiness. How is it going to get there? What's it going to do when it gets there? What's it going to fight with? They don't have the ammunition. You can't just go with one loadout, get in contact, come back, and say, "Oh well, that's it." You just sit there with a tank. What are you going to do? Ram them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, hold the phone on this tribunal bullshit. There ain't gonna be no fucking tribunals. Get that QAnon bullshit out of here.
I don't even follow Q. What
I
I'm
know,
saying
but
is
that's
that I'm telling you right
More-
now, they're not going to allow any of like combing them to be tried in the U.S., the District of Washington, D.C. There's no way they're going to do it because they know almost every judge in there is corrupt. So they either got to move it, and because this is possible
I think what
treason,
happened was
because it's possible treason, it's a military matter. So
I don't know.
We'll see. I'm sorry, Glenn.
I'd say more likely it's probably like a culling, but I'm thinking that they probably said, like, look, we're going to attack China. Everyone's required to submit a paper on how they would do it, and the best generals and admirals will keep their jobs, and the rest will get fired. So, I mean, even if you're the admiral and your job is in charge of all the chow halls in the Pacific, hey, if you write the plan that they like, you get to keep your job, and the guy that is the in chief of the Pacific Fleet that writes a garbage plan, he's probably going to get fired.
And United States
I
has
think
so much
it's more-
failures over the past years, right? There are so many military failures, like especially Afghanistan. The withdrawal is messed up. So there is a lot of people that should have get sacked but not sacked.
I mean,
So,
my
the
money is
thing.
on the transvestite supply cooks in the Navy for coming up with the best plan, probably to beat China. I mean,
or they see any
all those
female
Navy SEAL
generals
guys
walking
and
in.
all those carrier air wing commanders, they don't know shit. It's those tranny guys that make the mashed potatoes.
Or maybe Pete Hexet will be like at the entrance. No, every single female officer
actually
that
the
walked in that
janitor
looked like a guy. Oh,
writing
you're
the
sacked.
battle plan.
You're sacked.
Well, also look at how many generals
real quick. If it's Pete Hexeth, if it's a female officer, 8 and above, you get to keep your job. 8 and below, you hit the road.
Yeah.
Well, it
I'm
is time,
becoming
though,
just
that we shed some of these generals because we got more generals than we had in World War II. And we have at least half the force. So some of this has got to get worked out because we can't continue on in the way that we are. Something has to change. And it's not like our enemies don't know this.
Well, I mean, think about it. We had larger land operations with fewer generals. Now we could do these large, land operations, air and sea. They're all linked and data linked and communicated. So you would think it would require less staff than what they had back when they had not near the battlefield awareness of what they have now. So, yeah, I mean, I would assume that it's going to be some kind of trimming of the fat, hopefully, because. I mean, there's too many. I mean, you need a couple admirals in the Pacific. You probably need a couple in the Atlantic, and then maybe a few on standby in case somebody's carrier group gets sunk and they go down with the ship. Same with the Air Force, the Army. I mean, you need corps commanders and then their subunit commanders. But I mean, how many people have we seen over the years? Oh, she's the first female 2-star general in charge of logistics. It's like, okay. Can she do the job when it counts, or is she just pulling her, enough to get by and got promoted because someone wanted to promote the first woman general? Is she actually competent? Maybe that's a lot. Maybe there's going to be a bunch of competency reviews.
Yeah, I think that's more what it's going to be.
I'm more cynical about Trump's action and what he's doing. It's not even because of Gaza, it's what's happening there. I think he's more like a loyalty guy. He will find who's more loyal to him, whether he's competent or not. Practically, that's what he was doing. Anyone who disagree with him, he will kick him out for a good or a bad reason, and that's not a good thing for America.
That's not necessarily really true or fair because Tulsi Gabbard publicly disagreed on the Iranian thing, and she's still there. And she hasn't been put out. She's still making her rounds here and there. So, and I
Did
think
she
the
have?
military guys, they've self-identified long ago, so it's probably not even that hard to get rid of these guys
But
because they already
it's not.
got screenshots of their rainbow flag and this and that, and whatever dumb shit they've said over the last 4 or 5 years. They've got all that. So
The
I
thing
think it's
is,
probably just trimming the fat. Like we don't need 27 admirals in the Pacific.
yeah.
We only need
But the thing,
15.
what I wanted to say is either if it's a purge for loyalty or to plan something big, because I don't see Trump like figuring out who's the best general and keep him like competent wise. I personally don't see him with his record for so far. This is me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, but those are the two things that came into my mind. There's a lot of conflict that he can begin. Personally, I see two choices: purge for loyalty, one, or going to a big event and trying to
I don't
cover
think you
everything.
understand the American military. The American military, even with the politicization of it, their overwhelming majority of people's mindsets would be pro-Trump, or at least Trump. Just because of his swagger, the way he talks, the way he wants to project power, he's going to have the loyalty of most of the military, anyways. I mean, he doesn't need to do a loyalty test because there's going to be plenty of guys that want to serve him and want to perform for him and want to be his fair-haired boy. So the cream will rise to the top. The guys that can get the jobs done that he wants done, or convinced him that they can get it done, those will be the guys that stay. I mean, think about it. He likes to win. He wants to be a winner, so he's not going to pick people that ain't going to win. I mean, he might make some crazy changes and stuff, but those might be recommendations by other war fighters, like not so much Hegseth, but those guys have the pulse of the regular guys more than some 4-star that's been in the Pentagon for 20 years. So it could be a matter, I don't think the loyalty thing is going to be a problem. I think these guys want to perform for Trump, and they'll do it.
Super chat, Mr. Eric say, build Trump mad. I actually don't understand.
Even we see it why I said this, because even we see it with states who disagree with him. He goes with the National Guard, with the military, with the lawsuits and stuff. It's basically authoritarian stuff 101. It's like what
It's not really
we do here.
authoritarian. I mean, my governor, when I was in the state Colorado National Guard, we got activated by the governor. We could get activated by the president. I mean, the thing is those units, when they get activated, even the ones in California, they're made up of hippie Californians. Guess what? They all put their uniform on and went and did the job the boss told them to do. I mean, the idea that there's those people being purged out, they've self-identified. I don't think there's anything like that going on. I don't think the president, this particular one, has a problem getting the military behind him because his attitude appeals to them. Same with the law enforcement guys. I mean, he probably has the backing overwhelming of law enforcement of all shades and stripes and ranks, just because he says what they want to hear. He says he's going to back them. He says he's going to let them do their job. So, that's what most guys want to do. They want to be left alone to do their job and not be lawsuited or whatever. So I do believe they're going to cut the fat. I just don't think it's a loyalty test.
If it's not loyalty test,
he's already got those people around him.
If it's not the loyalty test, then maybe, as I said, it's either the loyalty test or a war or a conflict, or maybe he's testing whether he can start a conflict or not. I don't know, but because calling everyone is a bit weird. Even for a conflict, I didn't see that before. Even
I mean, think about it, dude. What if some of these guys get Zoom called and the HR person from the Army or the Air Force or the Navy tells them, thank you for your service, but your service is no longer required. Submit your retirement papers. I mean, more than likely, it's going to be a shedding of the fat. Because, I mean, think about it. You don't need all these staffs because each one of these admirals and generals has a staff. So you're just taking up money and manpower that you probably really need to put somewhere else. I mean, if they
Israel,
if they cut
help in
50% of these officers, I mean that's money they can turn around and put into training or other programs. You know, I mean they got to pay these guys to retire and go away, but I mean they probably just have to streamline the whole system and get rid of a lot of the excesses. And unfortunately, when the military wants to cut their budget and make a big splash about how they're saving you money, it's usually because they cut personnel. It's not because they cut programs. I mean, Bill Clinton's big thing was I saved, X amount of billions of dollars after Desert Storm because he reduced the size of the federal government. Most of that was done on the military. Those are federal employees. So technically I cut the federal government down because I gutted the military. And then, after we gutted the military, we sat on it for 20 years and then decided to go hot again. And now we're in a bad spot. And we've given most of our shit away to somebody else over the years and the proxies. And now we're figuring out maybe we got a lot of dead weight at the top and not enough bullets and beans.
Super chat by Johari. I wonder how those general view Pete Hegseth since he was a major in the NG, but now as the Secretary of Defense, bet those guys are salty since they did not get promoted. But it's a different thing, right? The becoming a Secretary of Defense is more like a political thing. So
Yeah, I'm just happy that the guy has some basic military experience to be in the job, so he at least understands the system. I'll take that over them just picking somebody because the guy gave him a bunch of money and he's a good friend. At least this guy knows how the system works. And he was in a position where he was fucking people and getting fucked a lot, so he's probably the perfect guy to figure out what works and don't work.
I mean, which country don't like your defense minister or secretary of defense, go to every unit and then go for physical training, the morning training with them. Then go do push-up with them. That's like the perfect defense, leader, That is like...
I mean, you think you're ever going to see Donald Rumsfeld do push-ups with the troops? Or Dick Cheney? I mean... And the thing is the enlisted guys and the lower ranking officers will probably respect him more, and they might even feel like they can go to him and explain problems to him. Whereas, before you got to get permission from so and then run it up the chain, and then it just disappears. Maybe you'll get more action now with a lower ranking guy, because like I said, he was closer to the bullshit than some general that gets promoted.
Because when I was in the military, rank and file soldiers, really like this type of officer, that they're willing to go into the to sweat with you, to train or do physical exercise with you, to share the feelings and you can relate and you can respect, rather than someone who act as if he's very like big ego, like grandstanding
above you,
like he's above us, Yeah, the soldiers don't like it. The soldiers like.
But if it's a bullshit, thing, they will sense it. Because if my boss come to my desk, let's say, and do some PR bullshit, I will sense it, and he can as kick ass as he wants, but I will sense it. I will despise him even more because he's doing a PR move. You understand?
Yes.
But if you look at what he did, though, you got Pete Hegseth in Secretary of Defense. You've got a lot of other guys that were in the global war on terror. You got Tulsi Gabbard at the DNI. I mean, they put these people that were mid-range officers that would have been like the go-betweens between the higher-ups and the lowers. So I think it's a good move because
I didn't say it is like this. I didn't say it is like this.
I never thought about that, Vaughn, because I had always thought about it as Pete Hegseth is not a super high-ranking military officer. It feels like he might be a little bit out of his depth, but maybe actually it's a little bit of what we need, because we've had bunch of guys that were not out of their depths, supposedly, and look where they got us. Like biggest military budget of all the nations, and
well, I mean, and it's kind of an old tradition too in the military. I mean, if you want to know what's wrong with the military, ask the privates. You know, they'll tell you what's wrong. I mean, granted, a lot of it's just gratuitous bitching because that's what it is. But I mean, I think those guys were in a position because they weren't politicized as much, or really, and they didn't have to kiss some senator's ass to get their job. You know, to get a star. You know, they got put in there, and if they didn't vote for him and put him in, Trump could have recessed appointed him if he really wanted to push the issue, or they could have just kept revisiting until they got somebody. But I think these plays are to kind of solidify the military as far as, you know, we got people in here that know what your struggles are. They went through the struggles with you. They were in the global war on terror. They know what's up. They weren't sitting in the fucking Pentagon office just writing checks and making, you know, pronouncements. So I think it played out well. You know, you've got people that have skin in the game. They know the job. They were doing the job. They were doing the grunt work. And now they're in positions of power, you know, that might just better facilitate the changes that the military needs to make, especially in regards to, you know, Ukraine and shifting towards China and Asia and all this. You need people that are up to date on stuff.
They don't have that tail that they owe so much to so many that they're compromised.
Yeah, I mean, how many people were lobbying Pete Hegseth before he got SecDef? I mean, I'm sure he talked to people. I'm sure people offered him jobs. You know, people like tell him about stuff like, hey, I know you got Trump's ear. Can you tell him about this? Yeah, but like, you know, now that lobbying's probably 100 times more intense than it ever was. And he might be level-headed and grounded enough to blow a lot of that off and not get taken up to like, well, I'm a general now. Of course I should get steak dinners every night and fucking free vacations.
Well, if you look at the people that Trump has surrounded himself with, it's really interesting because you have people like Hegseth, Gabbard, right? These are people that have strong opinions. We know that they do, and we've heard them.
Look at them. You got Patel, you got Bongino.
Another good example.
They took mid-range guys and moved them into positions of authority, and these were all field guys.
And they all have some kind of ideological bent, right? So it's like they're it's not like you're talking to Keith Kellogg, and Keith Kellogg his daughter has a business in Ukraine, and he's partly invested in that, and he's also advising Donald Trump on what he should be doing in terms of Ukraine, trying to act like he's more level-headed, more fair-handed, and even-handed than he really ever was. So it seems like he's tried to surround himself with these people that may be a little bit harder to corrupt, because somebody like Pete Hegseth might actually have some deeply held personal convictions, like he notoriously has that infidel tattoo or something, right? So it's probably going to be harder for that guy to be compromised by, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or something. Who knows? Maybe he's got some kind of racist thing going on. Whatever it is, people like Hegseth and Gabbard and RFK Jr. and Kash Patel, I think that they have some kind of individual moral strength that they can stand on a kind of a basis to push back. That somebody like Keith Kellogg, he doesn't. He's compromised. He can't.
Well, he's part of the old guard in the old system. He's one of those guys that's always around in the background for multiple administrations. So he's kind of like, you know, hey, if you got a problem at stake, call this guy. You know, he's the fixer. And yeah, he might be the fixer, but he's the fixer for the establishment. And now they've got people in there that aren't still establishment.
So I guess what I'm saying is that he's surrounded by both people that maybe he should be listening to more, and by people that he should not be listening to as much. And sometimes you can tell that difference when after he talks to Witkoff, he comes out with one statement, then he talks to Keith Kellogg and Zelensky or Macron, and he comes out with a completely different statement. So it's like you're surrounding yourself with contradicting voices. And I think probably to a certain extent, it has to be like that to a certain extent. People are like, no, you're going to have some of your guys in there, and we're going to have some of our guys in there too, you know? So I'm sure, but
I'd really like to know who he talked to before he came out with that idea about them getting Crimea and all that back down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I mean, there's days where he sounds more reasonable and like he's, you know, somber about what's actually happening on the ground. Then the next day he's like, well, you know, the Russians have lost 1 million guys and Ukraine's lost 30,000. And
I think Trump is just setting up the Europeans. Because
Yeah,
no,
but-
Trump already said that no, United States have nothing to do with the Ukraine war, and everything is just paid. They're just selling weapons, but but Ukraine can win, and the Europeans will help him. They will help Ukraine. It's basically setting the Europeans to fail.
It's funny,
So
it's because
that's
that's what
fine.
Nanya and I had predicted all the way back when our podcast started. We were saying right away when Donald Trump got elected, he is going to try to pawn the Ukraine disaster off on the Europeans. And slowly but surely, this is exactly what we've been seeing, step by step, and to the point where the Europeans are getting paranoid. They asked
think about it.
Zelensky about that statement that
Okay,
Trump
guys,
said.
because
When,
I've got like 10 minutes.
Miro,
Poland second time. Yeah, hello. So basically, I'm in the workshop, guys. Knipex, 140 pounds. From China, 10 pounds. 10 days from China to Poland by Belarus. Also, I was looking, recently digger, the same, 8,000 pounds, perfect micro digger, unbelievable. 10 days delivery, China, Belarus, Poland. But what I wanted to say, interesting, because I was talking about Zelensky in UN speech, thing like that. So I'm watching that show, quite a long, and I'm quite surprised because, guys, no one knows how Ukraine became Ukraine and how Israel became Israel. That's crazy for me. That's crazy for me. That's what I wanted to say. That because it's impossible to find in ChatGPT basically lying. But guys, 1920, Battle of Warsaw. So basically. Because that's very interesting what's going on, because I will tell you later on what happens today in Poland. So basically today, our new president Nawrocki signed agreement with Ukraine that Ukraine still got lots of benefits. So even if Polish government paying benefits from Ukraine, so basically Ukraine coming to Poland, so that war is like about. It seems to me that that is to bankrupt, Poland and Ukraine, and then you can govern, both those countries. Whoever, like Poland and Ukraine, borrow money, that will buy, But so basically, before election, Nawrocki said never will sign something like that. That's because already Ukrainians receive lots of support, and people are like crazy about this. This is people saying like too much, too many. So before election, they said no. Now, so basically, Polish government will be paying, benefits. But how it looks like, guys? Do you remember that? Drones incidents. So basically, crazy plastic drones, most likely from Ukraine, because it's impossible, from
The distance is too great from Russia. The distance was too great. The Russians were saying the drones could not have flown from Russian territory because they had like a 400-kilometer
guys,
range.
my point is those plastic drones were issued by fighter jets, buy from USA, and rockets from USA. One rocket destroyed homes. So basically, this is this is not the war. This is the goal is to bankrupt Poland and Ukraine. And if you own those countries, you can govern those countries. Basically, how it looks like. But what I want to say that no one understands about Ukraine and Israel.
It's YouTube. Damn it.
1920 Battle of Warsaw, guys. Basically, Poland declared independence. 1918. Russia attacked Poland, and basically, a few months, and Russia lost everything. Russia was begging Poland for peace. That was 1920. And my point is that no one understands this because all those wars were funded by Rothschilds. That's not so basically Rothschilds could predict, almost every war. Like now is not difficult to predict, what happens. Everyone knows that Ukraine lost, we lost. It's not difficult. But that Battle of Warsaw, no one, and for sure Rothschild couldn't predict, So basically that so Russian were begging, for peace in Riga, and that was eastern border, and then was established like eastern border, of Poland, which includes, Belarus and Ukraine. So that was my point is that Western Ukraine is Poland, and no one bothered to think what happens with those people which live there, like the Poles, So
Yeah. I told you, Miro.
So basically, what I say,
you send Polish security forces in there to stabilize Lvov and all that, and then you just don't.
No. This is about debt. This is to bankrupt all those countries, because I said to you earlier that the oil around Carpathia Mountains. So basically that was reason for Second World War. Germany need that oil, and even before that, and what's crazy that Rothschilds found that tiered oil fields at that time, 1908 in Drohobych, Ukraine, and that's about this oil, because Poland nationalized this oil, and that was the reason for Second War, That Rothschilds' money. That's how I see this, and that's very interesting. But second, my point is that Ukrainians genocide, and guys, that's interesting because recently Trump visited UK, and he had this dinner with King Charles. And what King Charles said, and King Charles is fucking lying, many times. I've got like few of his lies that is big, but what he said with Trump, that basically King Charles said that UK cooperate with Ukraine through First and Second World War. Basically, they work together. So that is crazy, because guys, that genocide of Poles, it happens 1943, and that at the point when Germany started to losing, and Ukrainians switched to like UK side, So if King Charles saying something like that is huge. It's huge. So basically, I'm looking, who is responsible for that genocide of Poles, in 1943, 1940, and.
So you're saying the Brits had something to do with it?
Yes, because they started when Germany started to lose Second World War. That's basically. Bohemia genocide started. No 1939, no 1941, 1943. So I believe, I'm sure that's why you've got censorship in UK, because and Israel, because they're lying about Second War. So basically, I'm claiming that Second War is opposite what we know what war. No, it's completely opposite. What happens during Second War. So that was planned by UK, and those people which left Poland. And because I've got like, guys, 10 minutes, but if you learn this, and then you will be able to use like maybe ChatGPT or Google to find what really happens. And
not a lot of people bring up the 1920s Russian.
Guys, another interesting. what's interesting, everyone wants to be in Poland, like Austria-Hungary, Germany, Russia, Ukrainians. Everyone wants to be in Poland. And even Jewish people live in Poland like for 200 years. And suddenly, in 1920, they had decided that they will leave Poland, So that is crazy. That is crazy. And you see, like, Polish people don't understand, and why they leaving us. And basically, they were asking, why? They were angry, that's why? If you were leaving us, then fuck you, but they couldn't understand this. So that's my point, just find why is that everyone wants to be in Poland, like Jewish people have decided to go to Palestine. So that is I know, but you see, so basically that's reason when 1920 when Ukraine and Israel was established, after that battle, and that's also very important. Like the people around the world should know about that battle, 1920, because that was key history point in Europe, or in the world, in fact, because we've got that Middle East just now. So yeah, so basically, in 5 minutes, so like. Oil, Drohobych in Ukraine, lots of oil, and I think reason because I'm looking for reason, not like lots of people with military experience looking, all right, we'll send him, these missiles, but it's not about weapons. It's about to bankrupt those countries. That's very easy, and to take total control.
Demilitarize NATO.
That's
right?
my point.
People have said this for a while. I think especially Garland Nixon. He's been saying that the Russians created a trash compactor in Ukraine and to demilitarize Ukraine, and NATO kept feeding it, dripped feeding it little by little, wonder weapons and equipment instead of like giving them one big, 50 M1 Abrams tanks to use all at once or something, right? They were drip feeding them, and the Russians took out their Patriots and took out their tanks and took out their all this other stuff. So they call that, Donald Nixon calls that the demilitarization of NATO.
Do we have a new guy? Do we have a new guy that needs to intro himself?
Sorry?
So Peter has been on Open Mic before, long time ago. He haven't came out for a long time, I think.
No, I've been busy.
You're from Canada, right?
That's
Yes,
guys.
yes.
5 minutes, and I because I have time, but 5 minutes. How crazy is that? So just when war started in Ukraine, Poland gave them, I think, 300 or 400 tanks, which was crazy if you think that Ukrainians did, genocide, and that was
Miro, be fair. Let's be fair, because it's because Poles also don't like the Russians. There's also, especially in the leadership,
That's
there's
not
also a level of
No. I told you just now that I'm looking for that, train connection with China and Belarus, Russia. I think that's a fucking huge. I'm thinking even to buy digger from China soon, because 10 days, fucking the price is okay, and you've got 10 days delivery, by train. So also tax is, I think, 2%. So that would be good deal, that would be good deal. So I see that's like like huge development for everyone, including like Belarus, Russia, Poland, Europe. That's railway is something huge, and probably you have.
No, I don't know, dude. Your politicians have been involved in trying to rewrite the history of World War II. They've made a lot of homophobic statements. Definitely, they made like for example, saying that it was that World War II started as a result of Soviet and German invasion of Poland, for example. World War II had been raging before that. or that leaving out important details, like the fact that the Poles didn't want to make an alliance against Nazi Germany with the Soviets. They chose instead to make an alliance with Nazi Germany against the Soviets. I mean, I get it. You're a smaller country and you're between a rock and a hard place, but you chose to side with the wrong guys.
We did?
No. It's what I told Elliot. Elliot is international conspiracy against. No. International conspiracy against Poland. I can explain. No, our politics never said even. So that I'm saying about Ukrainians and how crazy is that they make genocide and Poland giving him like everything, tanks and support, So basically they got like free money.
It's not crazy.
But I mean, we get it, Miro. But I mean, think about it. Look at.
It's not crazy. It's because they're fighting the Russians.
Russia attacks Kiev every day with drones, and some people die, and you'd think it was a massive slaughter of civilians, and then Israel literally slaughters civilians every day, and you don't hear a peep.
Compare what's happening just now in Poland. If like German with swastika sent to Israel, Israel would give him all support, tanks and everything. That's the same situation. Can you imagine that Germany with swastika with tattoo is massively are sent to Israel, and Israel welcome them with support and everything? That's fucking crazy. The same crazy is like Ukrainians have like support from Polish state. That's fucking crazy.
It's not crazy if you consider the fact that the main enemy is the Russians.
Oh my God.
But are they not?
Not really.
You don't think so?
Who said this? No. Russia. One moment.
I mean, think about it, dude. I mean, the reason is you have the Soviet Union, and there's people that live in those Eastern countries that have bad feelings about the Soviet Union. That's why there's Polish mercenaries and
No. That's why
there's a certain number of people in those countries that will side with Nazis because they hate Russians more than Nazis.
Yeah,
I mean, there's think of the Merc. Think of the Merc that Wyatt knows. He's basically, on that side. And why? Because he hates Russians. Because the Russians were the Soviets, and the Soviets fucking were horrible to his parents.
How stupid is that? Poland was attacked by Germany, and Germany made.
Calm down.
I mean, if you want to look at something stupid, look at all the Colombians going to Ukraine. That's stupid. They don't have any.
That's crazy.
I mean, I could see an Eastern European going to fight against Russia because of the bad blood from the Soviet Union, but why the fuck is the Colombian going over there for anything other than money?
Yeah,
I mean,
that war is crazy.
I can get the Georgian Mercs and the Ukrainians and the Estonians, the Romanians, the Bulgarians. That makes sense. Colombians, Americans, that doesn't. Brits, that doesn't.
Colombians don't like Russians, apparently.
I mean, apparently there's this horrible streak. Maybe there's a missing history. Those explorers that sailed over to South America before Christopher Columbus.
Miroslav, why are they Colombians in Ukraine fighting against Russia? What's your take?
For drone practice, drone training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cartels using the Ukraine. They're funding. They're getting.
I would say that's a risky endeavor because there's probably not a lot of Colombian graduates from that Ukrainian school that make it back to Colombia.
No. Some do. I think some are captured.
So, guys, to summarize, so basically, our government, because someone said that that Polish government is lying about history. No. Basically, they're saying we need to support Ukraine. And how crazy is that? They're saying we need to support Ukraine because they are our neighbor. But you know, Belarus and Russia have like much longer border, you know, with Poland. So it's the same. So that argument is fucking crazy, you know. But I basically I would like to live with everyone in peace, especially with Russia. So if someone's saying that Poles are against Russia, that's fucking propaganda and stupid, you know. No way. Everyone else, and
I agree with you. Listen, every single Polish. So I'm Russian American. Every single Pole I've ever met has always been really excited to find that out and try to say a couple of Russian words to me. Right? That every single one. Like that's here in America, in the United States. I've never met what is it, Radislav Sikorsky, somebody that talks with that kind of flamboyant and vitriolic, hateful rhetoric. But I do see them in the news, and I do see them in Polish politics, and I think it's
all right. So let's say what Sikorsky, guys. Two things about that drone attack. Sikorsky said that it's too early to say something because there's like mist of war. We don't have enough information, and I'm regarding that Polish government plane which crashed in 2010. He was again the foreign minister of Poland, and he like 5 minutes after that plane crash, he said there was no explosion, plane crash, everyone dead. So that's Sikorsky. Can you now understand what's going on? The presidential plane crash, and Sikorsky said 5 minutes after that crash that there was no explosion, that was accident. So
yeah,
and
fog.
And regarding
Lots
that drone attack, he said no, that was assassination, guys. And all Europe said nothing, you know. Even funeral of our president, no one arrived apart Putin. That's only Putin showed up because that was like volcano eruption, stuff like that. But basically, yeah, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
He's
that was assassination.
Katyn massacre anniversary when the plane went to visit for the anniversary of the massacre and crashed subsequently in Russian territory.
And let me address that Katyn because you see what happens. What's happened? 1940, guys. So basically, few months after Germany and Soviets invade Poland. So basically, the Polish soldiers surrendered to Soviet. That was like order. You know, don't fight with Soviet, fight with Germany. And 22,000 killed. You know, immediately. So my point is how crazy what those countries you know in Palestine saying only first year of Second World War, that was like huge genocide. Nothing happened to other people like Ukrainians, Jewish people. Nothing happens. You've got like few months of war. 22,000. We don't know how many more because I've heard that in Kazakhstan it's like second cutting. But you've got like few months after Second War started, you've got cutting and 2 million Poles sent to Siberia, civilians, you know, before Holocaust, before Germany started to build concentration camps. So that's why I'm saying, guys, Second War is opposite what we know in Poland. Just I'm learning, you know. So crazy stuff. So Germany, for example, and what I do not understand, you know, I know a lot about border with Ukraine, but I don't understand why Ukraine is so big. For me, it's difficult to say because Ukrainians were cooperate with Germany later on, quite possibly with Great Britain, you know, but that is very tricky because all those concentration camps, basically those camps where Jewish people were killed, that was maybe 3 or 4 camps exactly on the eastern border of Poland. So So there was maybe you know few SS man and rest of staff that was Ukrainians, and I believe that's interesting because I think anyway those SS mans wanted to kill Ukrainians as well after job done. So it's very interesting. But anyway, the Ukrainians work for Nazi, you know. So why? This is a question I know why, but question for you guys: why Ukraine is so big after Second World War? Because Germany lost, and Ukrainians were working with Germany.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. The Russians controlled all that territory. They're the ones that set the borders.
Yeah, it was part of USSR, Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, Poland was, Romania, Hungary, all that.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just
Czechoslovakia.
that's where the terrain laid, you know.
But if you think about this, so Bandera, those you know Bandera groups, they just now you know. There's head of Bandera in Ukraine because they were also fighting against Russians. So why would Russia give Ukrainians?
Didn't hear any.
I mean, they didn't give it to them. They probably purged all the Banderite guys out and killed all the political problems, and then they settled Russians there.
Yeah. So basically, guys, I need to go back. My point is that is. You see, I would rather, you know, on open mic, I would just think, you know, why Ukraine is so big, why Israel is so big, you know, when it happens, because it's everything connected. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. That is crazy what's going on, and I think, you know, that goal will be, you know, to bankrupt all those countries and take oil. That's how I see this, you know. So means it means it could happen that everything, you know. But I'm thinking that the goal would be to because already, you know, those tanks with Poland with buy from Korea is, you know, the Polish government paid 30%, you know, and it's really loan. So if something happens, if something like small war happens. Oh my God, Poland will be bankrupt for sure, you know. It's already bankrupt. Already, you know, paying for those tax, paying Ukrainians, you know, for free.
I think they stopped doing that. They don't want to give any more welfare checks to the Ukrainians apparently coming in.
Well, I think that they need those welfare checks.
So just now, Miro talked about the drones, right? Reminds me of one of these new issues that just came out this week. Ukraine is accusing Hungary of drones flying into Ukrainian territory, and Ukraine is making some big deal out of it.
Yeah,
I will tell you, guys, a little bit quick because there's no much information from Poland. So basically, you know, I saw that military parade in China. You see those laser cannons, or I don't know how to say. So that is what lasers, yeah, lasers. So I think in cases like that, Poland should buy from China those, because you need to have like a little bit probably oil, you know, to shoot down small drones using like that, you know. So it's cheap, and Poland will be like. I don't know how much it costs, you know, to scramble, you know, the F-35, you know, but it's costly, you know. 1 hour of flying is, oh my God, you know. So for that plastic drones, it doesn't make sense.
I've heard people speculate that the real reason why they scrambled the jets was maybe to get them off the ground, because they didn't know if this was some kind of
an attack.
Attack that, you know, where they could have been caught flat-footed, and the goal wasn't necessarily to shoot down the plastic drones. But I mean, dude, all of those plastic drones taken together would never be even wouldn't cost as much as the fuel that was used by even one of those jets that was scrambled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I think that goal is to have like small world, small world that to make debts, to make huge debts, and then you own countries. That will happen. But so basically, I know that Poland is buying a lot from USA, but I will tell you, I was watching like Polish military parade from 1966. So I could compare, that military parade to China. There's like lots of rockets and everything made in Poland.
Well, they have Russian equipment too.
Russian equipment also.
Oh yeah.
But the Poles did make it. Yeah.
So that was something, that was something, you could use those rockets, to shoot down, drones, no problem, because you can make more and more and more. But now, we've got the Patriot from USA, and we need to every incident like that would cost a lot, So
that's why that whole incident. So listen, isn't it obvious to everybody what that incident was? That incident, along with the so